Howdy, Jason here, and today in the Auto Edit Garage, I'm going to be catching you up with the 73 Mustang project we've been calling Large Marge. Now, I've gotten a lot done over the last few months. I just couldn't shoot video. It was either shoot video and wait for the schedule to open up, or get stuff done and then do a catch-up. Now, don't worry, I have a couple of big installs that I'll do full video coverage on. But right now, let me bring you in. There's been a ton of work done, so don't worry, I have not forgotten about this thing. I want this thing to run worse than any of you, trust me. So let me bring you in and show you all the stuff that I've been doing or have done and what's coming next. Okay, so we're going to start in this general area of the Mustang because a lot has gone on right here. Now, in a previous video, I built the brake system for this vehicle and just put all of the lines in place and mounted these things. And there's even another video where I mounted the firewall mount for all of the master cylinders and the pedals here. Now, I went ahead and filled the system with brake fluid and used this simple tool here, a vacuum pump, to start the bleed process, and it worked fantastic. I mean, I don't actually remember a car that just went that easy, knock on wood. That's a good sign. There were no leaks and the system bled perfectly. The pedal is actually rock, just solid. So we'll see what happens. Next up, I went ahead and plumbed the hydraulic clutch. Now, this is a hydraulic throwout bearing that rides on the actual input shaft of the transmission, and I just ran a hydraulic line down to that unit and then plumb that. Typical stuff. There's a bleed line and a pressure line, and that worked perfectly as well. I'll try to get a camera down in there and I'll show you the actuation of that. It's actually pretty cool. And that's a big deal. Those are two major systems ready to go in this vehicle, and that's really exciting. So now next up in this general area, I have the power steering pump and plumbing installed here now. So I have a couple things going on. I have a rack and pinion pump that would be used for the 95 Mustang that this engine came out of. So I went ahead and went with the stock pump here. And then I have the Total Control Products rack and pinion conversion in this vehicle. So I have a rack and pinion in this vehicle. Now, I also installed this Heights pressure regulator in line on the power steering lines because I'm using the stock pump, and generally when the RPMs go up in a vehicle, the pressure also goes up in this pump. A race pump is designed to keep the same pressure throughout the RPM. So if the pump is spinning faster, the line pressure stays about the same. Now, in a stock pump, the pressure raises. So I put this valve in place here. It's a bypass valve. And now what that will do is it'll just run a bypass right back into the reservoir here on the pump, and that way I can maintain a solid pressure because I'm hoping to go out and do some pretty sporty driving in this thing. So it's pretty cool to have the power steering not only just plumbed and in, but actually have a trick little piece here to create some adjustability and tunability in the vehicle when it's done. So that's actually pretty cool, and that system is buttoned. Also, over here, as you can see, the headers are installed, final. I went ahead and pulled the tape off. A lot of people were concerned when I mocked them into place that the tape was still over the exhaust ports there. So the tape's off, gaskets are on, headers are installed, and they look fantastic, and they fit and clear everything, which is a really big deal when you have so many components being thrown together in a project like this. So that's pretty cool. Now, for the cowl mount on the export brace, or also called the Monte Carlo bar, I may mount that lower. We're still trying to figure that out because there's an interesting contour that happens right here. So that's still a work in progress. But you can see the mounting plates work perfectly here. And they shoot right up there. So they're gonna work great. It's just figuring out where that cowl or the firewall bracket will mount, and we'll be all good there. And then the tricky part for that one will be the crossbar, because that would normally run right here, and that crossbar has quite the obstacle course. So we'll have to figure that out later, but for now, everything's looking great there. And of course, we have the Holley Terminator throttle body in place. Now this air cleaner, I'm not sure we're gonna run that yet, but it's just kind of a placeholder, and it keeps debris from falling down inside there for now. So Looking forward to getting this system dialed. Now to finish up with the highlights in the front here, a big ticket item that has been ordered, this is really exciting, is a Be Cool cooling module. Now that's a radiator, fans, and a temperature control unit with relays, everything. And I'm stoked to have that on its way because that is the only big ticket item that has to get installed and then plumbed, of course, and then to fire this engine. Now I have a wiring harness I'll show you when we get inside the business office there, what's going on in there, but that is huge. So stay tuned for a full install video on the Be Cool radiator fan combo for this thing. That is going to be cool. That'll do it for the quick throwdown in the front here. Let's move inside. Let me show you what we got going on there. So into the office we go. Now I have the Flaming River tilt column and wheel in here, and that's feeling good. This is the regular old sport seat that I ordered a while back. It's in a pretty good spot. Now those are the Wilwood pedals there, and this is the hydraulic clutch, and it feels pretty stiff, but it's not hard at all. Now this is a high performance throwout bearing, so it will be good for future. If I end up putting a ton of horsepower in this car, I'll have a throwout bearing that's capable of operating a pretty hefty clutch. But right now, that feels pretty good. Now what you're seeing now is the actual throwout bearing operating, and it's pretty cool to watch that thing work. Now as you can see, the brake pedal is pretty firm. There's not a lot of travel. I'm gonna actually adjust here. You have quite a bit of adjustment at the top of the Wilwood pedal system here. So the driving compartment is shaping up pretty good. The wheel, the pedal, everything is looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna adjust the brake pedal down just a little bit so that way when I do get the throttle cable installed, I am a little bit closer for heel toe shifting here. That's just a kind of a personal preference I like, but that's the benefit of having something down there with so much adjustability. Now, one thing I realized is, and this is just one of those things that until you get all of these components installed in the car, you don't know. I bought a B&M shifter that doesn't have an interchangeable handle or an adjustable shift handle, and as you can see, that's not gonna do. My personal preference over the years is if I want my shift lever, my shift knob, I want my hand to be able to fall away from the steering wheel and grab that thing. You don't want to have to be searching for it, and it's definitely too far. That's first gear. That's too much of a reach for me. So ergonomically, that won't work. I'm gonna have to order another. I'll probably go with another B&M. I got a finger full of grease there. I'll probably go with another B&M lever, but one with an interchangeable shift lever. So, but this is just actually kind of cool. And you don't know this until, this is the first time I've actually had a steering wheel, a transmission in the car at the same time. So this is just one of those ergonomic things that you just got to pay attention to and work out. But pretty cool. Getting there. But the seat feels good. Tilt wheel is nice to have so I can actually have some adjustment there. The pedals feel good. I can actually do a little bit of heel toe shifting. I just have the throttle pedal attached with a little strap for now. But that gives you the general idea of what it's going to look like to drive this thing, and it feels pretty darn good. I like it. I'm ready to put some miles on this thing.
Now let's slide underneath old Marge for a quick rundown of the naughty bits. As you can see, it's time to start fabricating the Flowmaster Universal X-Pipe kit, and I'll show you my thoughts on the rest of the exhaust system in a moment. The fuel system has been plumbed all the way from the tank to the throttle body. The drivetrain is complete with the drive shaft and ready to rock. And now, it's just where to run those tailpipes.
Since trying to fit 3-inch exhaust above this axle here is going to be near impossible or way beyond my skill set, I'm really considering we're going to be putting the Super 10 cans, just like what's on the Dodge Ram truck project, tuck them up in here and over there, and then we're going to, I think, try to get it right under the axle. This is full droop, so that the axle's hanging, the shocks are supporting the rear axle. And then what we'll do is we'll sneak it around this coilover and along the gas tank there. So that's the plan at this point. We'll see once that stuff comes. But we're going to do a Flowmaster crossover, 3-inch exhaust all the way over, and then the Super 10 mufflers and some pretty neat tips. So we'll see. Those are on order, on their way. Now, for a moment I've been waiting for a long, long time. Let's check the stance of this thing. I have the coilovers in, I have an engine and transmission in, so it's very close to the actual driving weight that this will be.
So this will be the first time the Mustang will sit on fully installed suspension with a drivetrain. And if you haven't noticed, I'm pretty excited to finally see this happen. All right, we're gonna trust that the brakes are gonna work on this thing. Let's get it out across this little lip here.
The brakes work. Let's coast ride this into the street. Let's see what she looks like. Oh man, this is so cool. The Mustang out in the wild. All right. We could actually even put it in gear to hold it in place. Oh man, this is so cool. Sunlight on the car, sitting on the ground under its own weight. Good. Yeah. Oh. It looks pretty good.
After walking around the Mustang for a few minutes, it looks to me like the stance is very close. Maybe the whole car can come down a bit more, but there's a lot of dial-in left to do on the suspension. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. But for now, it's time to hook up the winch to old Large Marge here and get her back into the garage.
Now while I get Marge put away for the night, don't forget to go over to Instagram and follow me there, AutoEdit Jason, and stay tuned. More big stuff is coming. Also, more stuff on the Jeep and truck, so there's tons coming down the pipe. Stay tuned, stick around, and until next time, enjoy your drive. Good night, Marge. Whew. See you next time.